for USA Championships. You won the show, right?
Yes, I did.
What year?
2013.
And you did?
I went Pro Junior Nationals 2015.
And how many times have you?
2016. My bad. 2016.
How many times have you guys competed against each other?
Twice?
I think once at Olympia.
No, New York last year.
You're right. Yeah,
New York
yeah.
or Pittsburgh, one of them.
It was New York.
New York.
Yeah.
And you're both on the way to Olympia this year, right?
Yes.
If everything works out okay.
Yeah.
Points are tough this year, right?
You know what? I wouldn't even say points are tough. I think I should have just better managed my schedule.
Gotcha.
With me going to work and everything, it was kind of hard for me to get certain shows off. So if I could do it again, I'd do maybe one more show.
How difficult is it as an athlete to think about the point system, decide what you're going to do? I've heard some people talk about Olympia as the schedule is so difficult now to get points that it maybe should be changed because it's so hard on the body. What do you guys think about that?
Well, for me, the point system has always been there. It's always been there. So it started out with you qualify with one pro show win, and then the top 5 from the points system goes to the Olympia. Well, now it's the top 20. So for me, I feel like there's some shows it kind of shouldn't be set for those shows because only like 4 or 5 people show up because they're in different countries. But we can no longer use that as an excuse because now we went international with NPC and IFBB. So you can compete anywhere. So it's up to you to make the decision if you want to stay here locally and compete or you're going to travel to bigger shows with more points.
I mean, that's easy to say, but just to get up and go out of the country for a show it wouldn't be easy for everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to also think that,
How much does it cost to compete in a show for you, for either one of you? How much money do you spend prepping and getting ready for a show?
Wow. Just on food alone.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
a
can
lot.
honestly say, if I factor in the food,
my house. So
just the food alone, if I win the show, I'm getting reimbursed for the food.
Yeah.
That's not even thinking about the travel.
So if you win a show, you get $2,000 to $5,000, something like
maybe
that.
like 2,000 or 3,000.
2,000 or 3,000. I know because I've paid for the food for some athletes and for everything. It's way more than that, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what it's really coming down to is you can't think about that. You just have to think about the bigger picture, which is Olympia and getting on the big stage and trying to, move up, be one of those athletes, one of the top guys. Because it's a sacrifice.
When you started this, right? Go ahead.
But also, are you the athlete that's just competing just to step on the Olympia stage? Or are you an athlete that's just competing for the money from the show win? Or do you actually love the industry? Like for me, I just love competing. I love the industry. So I don't really care. Like if I want to go somewhere, I'm going to go.
I love it as well, but at the same time, just the toll it takes on my body.
Yeah.
Me going to work, me having a family, and then trying to find the time off to go to these shows.
So look, we were in the car today, right? And we're driving in the car, and you're talking about the aches and pains. You are 40 now?
Not yet, almost. Like 2 or 3 months.
35.
Yeah.
And all sports carry a toll on the body, right?
Correct.
Bodybuilding, tell me about the toll the bodybuilding puts on the body.
Wow. I think bodybuilding is one of the sports where if you're not taking care of your body with the deep tissue massages, the stretching, yoga, you will feel the effects of it.
Yeah,
it's just, it might not hit you right away. Well, sometimes it does, but the years of the scar tissue and just, you get tight. Your mobility is bad, range of motion. Everything is just, as you get older, you feel it.
So if I was a young athlete here at USA's, 22 years old, what things would you say, look, if I would have done this when I was your age, I could have competed a lot longer at a lot less pain?
I would have just started earlier. I had a late start.
Yeah, so did I. I would say not only starting early, but knowing what you're doing when you start. Because a lot of people is like, oh, I want to look like this guy or this girl, and they want to do things that they think in their mind are the ways to get them there. But what they don't see is the hard work and the length of time. Like doing the interviews tonight, some of the athletes were saying, I've been competing here for 5 years, or I've been doing national shows for 2 or 3 years. you do your one show, you can't expect that you're going to win your pro card. You can't expect to win a show. Like, you have to understand that it takes time and there's a process. Your body is not going to be perfect no matter how long you wait. You just have to continue to work on improving that.
Yeah, it's an individual sport, so you can't lean on anybody else to help you get past that hump if you can't get over it. It's just, you got to deal with yourself, and people want that instant gratification because the sport is so demanding. So if you're on a prep and it's 8 to 12 weeks and you're just suffering, you do want to win. So when you don't get it, it's like, I got to do this again, I got to do it again, and you just think about all the bad stuff. If you come off a win, going into the next show is easy. Like, okay, let's do it again.
When you were competing here, when you were these guys' age, or you were just starting, who was the pro you looked up to?
For men's physique, I would say Andre Ferguson.
Why?
He just had the complete physique to me. He was very symmetrical. He was symmetrical. You look at him like you can cut him in half, and his left side looked like his right side.
Okay.
And I mean, just trying to relate to him on a personal level. When I first met him, just real down to earth.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of pros, and when you meet them, they're kind of standoffish, or they're their biggest fans, you know. So.
We know a few of those. How about you? Who did you look up to?
I don't look up to anybody. I'm a Marine, so I just honestly view things completely different. Like,
So how did you do it?
how did I do it? I pretty much focus on myself and my family, like I always do. They are my drive to do everything. My whole goal in life is leaving something behind for them. So that was my drive to do my best at everything I did.
And I know that's true because we talk very often. I know the drive behind everything. I know that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, with me being so new to the sport and not knowing anything about it, I had to look at certain guys to figure out, like posing, you know, just how does this work? I didn't know anything about how.
Who did you look at as like the guy to?
Remember, I started
You were
in
one of the-
physique.
yeah,
I'm
okay.
old head. I started in
paved
physique.
it. You paved it for guys
I
like
made
me.
it. So all those guys you're talking about,
Yeah.
they watch me.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was one of the first ones.
That's
I went pro 2 shows after Jeremy went pro. So like, you know, it was at the beginning stages. I crossed over from bodybuilding, which I love bodybuilding and I miss it.
Why? Why did you love it more about
it's like free. You know, I just feel like there's just so much freedom. I don't have to be restricted to like just doing a left pose or a right pose or a back pose. With bodybuilding, you can be creative, and I love being creative.
So you both work with athletes all the time, right? They're asking you for advice. You coach athletes. What is the one mistake that athletes make throughout their beginning of their career that you could say, don't do this? I know one thing you're going to say is listen to your coach, right? Don't go to 20 different coaches. What would
Not
you
this
say?
time. I'll tell them stop looking at Instagram. Instagram is not life. Social media doesn't dictate anything because you can look good on social media and then show up to the show and look like crap.
I would agree and disagree. I think closer to a show, you should stay off social media. But you still want to know what's going on. Like, you want to be in the loop. Instagram is like, it's informative. Just like, you know, I would say Facebook is. You might not know about certain things or even certain shows if you weren't connected to the social medias.
Well, and that's correct. But so in the aspect that I'm speaking on is the aspect of comparisons, like trying to compare yourself to someone on social media.
I mean, I think everybody lets that insecurity or that doubt creep into their head during prep sometimes. But once you get confident with yourself and you catch that groove, it's like you really don't care about anybody else. When I first started off, I was one of those guys I'm looking at everybody that might come to my show because I was just unsure of my physique because I was just starting. I was trying to build a certain look that I thought was it. And it's like I'm going to these national shows and what are they looking for? What did the last winner, what did he look like? The 2 years before I did it, what did he look like? So it's like I would try to kind of work towards that physique because it seemed like the winning physique.
Sure. Tell me about the entertainment side of this. I've been telling our athletes a lot that you're not just a pro athlete, you're an entertainer, right? And we're trying to draw people to the shows, we're trying to draw sponsors to the shows. Tell me just a little bit about what role of an entertainer does that play? You know, like when you start thinking about your posing, do you think about, I'm just trying to impress the judges, or do you too think about the audience having some fun?
For me, it'll be character. your character speaks everything, and that's, going back to the social media thing is, social media is great. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I'm actually trying to get better at doing more and be more versatile on my social media platform. But when I mention comparisons and being so focused on what everybody else is doing that you don't focus on yourself. Now, moving forward to your question.
You actually talked about this in a post you did the other day, is be yourself. We've talked about it. I've seen you talk about it. The mistake a lot of amateurs I hear from all of my older pros in the sport is you try to be like someone else and you're never yourself. A lot of people copy you on stuff.
That spot is already taken. My thing is, if they like this person for that, why would they pick you too if they already have that person doing it?
Right.
So you come with your own swag, your own style. It's new to them.
Yeah.
Oh, we like that too. We like that as much as we like that guy. So don't put yourself in a trick bag to where if Xavius, which I believe was one of the first guys to do like the hand on the hip pose, but he hasn't been doing as many shows as some of the guys are doing now. So that pose has actually been handed to I would say, Andre Ferguson, who does it and it looks good on him. I think it's just poses are used, transitions, everything is used, and it has this little tweak put on it, and guys can adopt it as theirs. But most of this stuff has already been around.
Yeah, it's always been there.
It's here. Guys just do it a little different, and then it's, if you're a popular guy, people see you doing it. That's the Xavius pose. That's the Rock pose. But it might be a guy from 4 or 5 years ago that was doing it.
Yeah, but either way it goes, like your character, even if you do adopt that pose or don't adopt it, your character still speaks volume. Like, focusing on, growing yourself in your own image, you can use other individuals, other pros or athletes to help yourself grow and to become who you're going to be. But the main thing is being able to focus and better yourself.
Yeah, I think this week Mon Ethos has talked a lot about, with at least you guys, what our name means, which is My Ethics, right? And we've seen some things on social media that have been entertaining, but I think some of us have been disgusted by it.
Yeah.
And the character of my athletes, or the athletes of Mon Ethos, in my opinion, says no to that. It might be entertaining to watch, but it's very hard for us to then turn around and find sponsors that same week, right? Or have conversations. So without getting into what happened or anything like that, let's just talk about for a second what the character of an athlete looks like. You're a fireman, you're a Marine, you're both competitive. You can even see it in the interview, right? I mean, that's like my next question I wanted to ask, but I dared not go there, was who was going to win Olympia, right? We know that, right? But at the end of the day, you guys have the strongest character of two athletes that I've encountered, and that's amazing as a manager. It's kept me staying here, and I'm blessed every day to work with you guys. So what developed that character in you, and how do we translate that to the rest of this body of athletes?
Well, I think with me, just positive role models in my life, like my dad and my older brothers, they never did any of the, I'd say, corny stuff that I see nowadays.
Right.
Some of these guys now, their role models are on Instagram. They look up to guys they've never met. Yeah. They idolize.
I see today a lot of athletes they're not influencing an audience. They're being influenced by them.
Yeah. It's crazy because I would never dare do some of the stuff I see some of these guys doing, because it's like, I don't care about anybody's opinion on Instagram. I don't want my kids to see me acting crazy. Yeah. Well, I would never want my dad to see me doing some of this stuff. I didn't raise you like that,
Yeah, that's the same thing. Like, I know when I grew up, my dad was the same way. Like, no matter what he went through, he still worked his butt off. He still did the right thing no matter what. And the other thing is, being a Marine, for me, I've seen some amazing and awesome leaders, and then I've seen some that weren't so great. And I told myself I would never be like that. I wanted to be the guy that, if I'm not exactly what I should be, I'm always working to be better.
We're doubling down on good. Yeah. That's what I say all the time, right?
I mean, in this day and age, what's popular is things like the reality shows, where it's just people acting crazy. And I've seen how they build those scripts. It's built off drama.
Yeah, it is.
And they have the highest ratings. So why would he change on social media? They want to see the same drama. Yeah. And if you notice the guys that are getting into it, it's built like off a reality show. Yeah. They look for the notorious just the crazy stuff. They
Sure.
shoot off of.
I talk a lot about our athletes having fans, not followers. Followers are watching your drama, right? Fans are supporting you as an athlete. When you make a decision on Instagram to do some of these things, you're going after followers and you're not thinking of how you're reacting to your fans, right?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, but you got to understand, like, these followers they'll turn on you so fast.
Yeah.
It doesn't take anything for them to be like, yeah, you're not cool anymore, or he said this about you, so I agree with him. It'll switch, and then you're trying to fight your way out of a hole that you didn't even know you were digging.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Guys, good luck with Olympia. And I won't ask the question.
We 1-1 now. We 1-1.
Yeah.
I thought you had.
No. I thought about it after that. I was like,
New
yeah,
York.
I'm pretty
I
sure we
forgot about
tied.
New York. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.